My name's Marcus Storey, co-owner and co-founder of Escape Sports here in Saskatoon. Escape Sports is an outdoor adventure company based in Saskatoon focusing on local outdoor activities. We came up with the idea when we were younger, doing a lot of rock climbing, and there was a lot of unique sub-sports that were kind of happening within that community, and there were no products you could buy from store that kind of focused on this, one being slack lines, another was unicycles. And so these two things were kind of the main focus of our store when we started, was unicycles and building slack lines, which are 1-inch webbing that's cinched between two trees, not tight. So it's kind of like a tiny little trampoline that you're trying to walk on. And really dynamic, really fun. And so we started building these kits as well as selling slack lines. And that was the very beginnings. It obviously morphed into a whole bunch of other things, but that was kind of the main sort of sport that kind of our initial focus was in, and then we kind of grew around that concept. And now it's you know, obviously morphed into something very different. My brother and I own the business together, and our dad has always been an entrepreneur his whole life. So we were born in it, and we've been around it our whole life. And so a lot of the things that maybe scare people away from entrepreneurship, the risk and all that side of it, we've kind of been very comfortable around. And the creativity has always been there in our family. And so that's kind of what started it. I was lucky enough to also take have an entrepreneurship class offered in high school that I took, and had a lot of fun with it. Kind of gave me maybe a framework of what we needed to do to do such a thing. And then the opportunity of doing it came about when my folks bought this building, and we had a little chance to do something in the very, very front of it while they operated their sign shop in the back. And so a number of those things really, really helped with that. The entrepreneurship in the family, being around it, but then also just having the opportunities at the right times. Me and my brother both, even though we're owners, we do like to do we spend a lot of time doing the everyday things that even regular staff would do. So, you know, opening the shop, you know, getting everything set up, helping customers, doing orders, checking emails. We really focused on growing our online presence over the last few years. And so there's, you know, that's a regular occurrence now, is dealing with the orders right in the morning. Emails, as everyone knows, that's a huge part of every business now. It's just getting back, and it's the main form of communication in business. And so the trick is always trying to be efficient with that. My brother and I kind of have a unique split of, he deals with more of the financial side of it, and then I deal with more of the advertising, sponsorship, that's social media side. And so, you know, we run things by each other, but it's kind of this unique, we're almost like one brain with two people. It's like, that I wouldn't recommend that necessarily for everyone. For us it works, but good qualities for entrepreneurship there's a number of ways you can go about it, but for us it's been creativity, fearlessness, social skills. Like, that's what I would say we learned from our dad is networking. Is just, you never know where opportunity might come about, and sometimes even just linking two different businesses together that you're not even associated with, sometimes opportunities will arise in that way. And so it's just being very open to and getting to know other people in the world of what you're doing, and then maybe even outside of it, and things come about because everyone is recommending a business to someone. But creativity is a big one. There's so many businesses out there. You have to find a way to kind of be unique or to offer something unique. And obviously the fearlessness is, you know, you don't make money in the first few years of most businesses, and you got to be ready to buckle in and plug away until it's successful. And so, yeah, when we started out, we were doing 6 days a week, just the two of us, no other staff really. And now we're at the point where we can kind of be 4 days a week and doing more of the things we like to do, which is half the things we sell at the store. So full circle. There's different ways to handle mistakes and approach to various things that might happen. obviously the best thing you do is learn from them, but you can always turn negatives into positives. There's always ways to do that. Learning from them is big. Just an example was when we started doing online, there's a whole aspect of that we never really considered, which is there's sometimes issues with fraud. And so like that's just something we never really dealt with. And so, you have a couple of maybe bad experiences on a couple sales, but the key is to learn from it and then, figure out some new processes in place. Because our business very much had like seeing the customer for so long. And so that's a different twist on things. Yeah, another is, sometimes if something, as you'll hear, our business is very focused on taking unique ideas that maybe are products that haven't really made it yet and being the first to bring them into a place. And so sometimes they don't all take off. And so you don't want, learning to not get carried away until you have a situation where you're going to be able to move enough product. And so that's happened in the past, but at the same time, that's just one of the risks as well. And so key for that, I would say, is we learned that we need to keep space because dead product in a smaller store is just costs you money all the time. And so these are just little things. It's like you can get caught up in it. Don't dwell on them too much, but learn from them. But don't let them get you down because that's just going to be every day. There will be something, and you can learn from it, make the business better. I love that we're selling the stuff I want to do most of the time anyways. And just dealing with people. It's people that are coming in to do fun things are usually in good moods, and that's who I want to be spending time with all day. And so, yeah, those are the fun things. And then obviously, having been successful 20 years in, it's now it kind of you're in a rhythm and you know what you're kind of expecting every day, and there's a little less unknown now. It's a little interesting trying to navigate current. The current climate with different aspects of where the economy's at. We've seen it being around 20 years. We saw a few different times. And so nowadays I'm like a lot less stressed on that because you've like, well, we've seen this. We know kind of how to handle it sometimes. You just kind of, maybe you back some buying off while you push some product that you've had for a while. And there's always ways around it. But yeah, the key is for us is just to always have fun and keep doing the stuff we do. What would be the best advice when we started was probably to just the financial aspects of it and just like just being prepared for the time that you need to put into it early on. We used to do a lot of trade shows and stuff like that on the weekends while running all week. And so for a while, 6 days a week does get tiring, but at the same time, just knowing that time you put in early on is what pays off later on. And so that's what I would say is just be prepared for the time. Yeah, the best advice I could give someone who's looking at getting into it is to not get caught in a square. There's so many different ways to do the same, or not the same, but to do business. And so you don't need to start a business with $200,000. You could, we started ours $5,000 each and no loans, never have had to take a loan out as part of it. Now, part of that is being lucky, having the space for my folks for the first couple of years, but that was a big part of it was that we didn't have to just go out and, we start small, you put in the time. There's so many different ways. Whereas I think it can be really intimidating if someone's thinking about starting a business and they're thinking about how much money. Obviously, different businesses require different amounts of time and capital to start, but there's no one way to do that. So, and the other thing I'd say is try and find somebody to work with who you trust and who you can bounce things off of, and don't let the egos get in the way. That's why it works for us, is because it's family, and even if we have troubles on things, we usually have been dealing with that our whole life, and so we know how to get through it. Plus we have a mom who's not going to let that ever get in the way, and so that's a really helpful thing too, is just having someone to do it with. Obviously that's, you hear a lot of horror stories of bad partnerships and stuff like that, but for my personality and Johnny's as well, we definitely don't want the responsibility on one of us, so it works. That's what really helps, is being able to either bounce ideas or just, if someone takes off, putting the plate on the other person and they'll hold it up for while they're gone and stuff.